She's a world-class performing artist who has shared the stage with legends, inspired millions through TV, and even brought her creativity to the New York Fashion Week. She transforms the secrets of the Argentine tango into strategies that helps couples ignite passion, harmony, and synergy. From a recording artist to a cultural ambassador to a lifestyle spokesperson, her work speaks to the human spirit. Please welcome the powerhouse behind the Two to Tango movement, Linda Sutton.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome, AJ, and the wonderful words. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. I mean, I was looking at your bio and it took me a while to really get through everything that you've done. It's been quite a journey.
It has, it has. I loved every step of it, even though it has had its ups and downs. Every step has contributed to the dance.
That's beautiful. Is there some part of your journey that you cherish more in different fields that you've tried?
Ooh, that's a tough one. But I would say probably the first steps into getting into dancing, because I didn't grow up with dance training. I didn't grow up doing ballet since I was 3 years old. I actually didn't start taking dance classes until I was recovering from a car accident in college. And my teacher actually was very discouraging. I just
Oh,
was
wow.
messing up her picture because she was used to working with very experienced dancers, and I was literally a beginner. But I was so excited to finally be dancing that there was nothing that she could say or do that could touch what was in my heart and in my spirit. Like there
That's
was
beautiful.
just, I was so happy to finally be taking my first dance class. And I cherished that moment because in some ways I was, for whatever reason, my love and my desire was so great. It kind of created a bubble around me that insulated me from any negativity or any discouragement. I probably looked a mess and it didn't matter. So that space, out of that space, the Linda that you see today was born.
I am so curious. A lot of people say that your passion comes after you spend a lot of time with your craft, and there are some that say that, I knew that, like you were mentioning, I really wanted to dance from day one, and it just lifted my spirits as soon as I started dancing. What's your experience been with passion?
I think it's a combination of both. I think definitely passion is what gets you through the ups and downs, the starts and stops of it. Thank goodness. And then there are some dancers that experience injuries and things like that. So, anything can throw you off your track. What I think takes you through the level to do the types of things that I do now really does require the study, the practice, the getting to deal with the basics, because it was through those basics where I started seeing that the dance was more than just steps. It was literally a relationship in motion. But that was after hours and hours of working with my craft, sitting with it, meditating on it, analyzing it from every angle that, you kind of go into another space with your work.
Yeah. It's really crazy. I've had a hard time battling between the two ends because I know what people mean when they say you have to spend time with your craft to truly love it. And at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, I watched Tony Robbins help people, and I was like, I really want to do this. I was inspired just by the visual of being able to help people.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always battled with where does this fall? Like, it's very curious to me. But just for the audience who isn't aware, Linda has done so many different things. She's been in fashion. She helps couples through tango, which is one of the most unique ways of helping couples that I've seen. She's been a poet. She's helped nutrition. She's been a vegan nutritionist. So I cannot even list down all the things that you've done. And I just wanted to give that context to people where what I'm thinking about when I'm speaking. But speaking about the Two to Tango movement, something I'm really curious about. How does the process work? So there's a couple who comes to you saying that they need help.
Mm-hmm.
How do you take them through the entire journey?
Well, they come to me through two pathways. Either they don't want to talk about their relationship and they just want to have a good time. Somebody kind of snuck them in. They wanted to connect with their partner like through a date night experience, or just learning how to move together, or they genuinely know me for the relationship work and they want help. Either way, my goal is to start with them with the dance. And one of my kind of claims to fame to start is I usually just literally ask them to dance three dances, which is a tanda and tango. And within that 9 to 10 minutes, I'm able to tell them everything that's going on in their relationship. And the shock from that, they're like, there's no way that you can know all of that from watching us dance. And I'm like, yep, you let your bodies do the talking. It tells all your business. And then out of that kind of assessment, we just work on their dance. But through that, I guide them through the epiphanies they start having about their relationship.
That's
So
so
for
cool.
Yeah, so for one example, if they're not giving a proper support, physical support to their partner, it's usually their partner is not feeling supported in the relationship. And that's usually an easy one to see when they're not giving that energy of support in the physical dance. Usually their partner is like, that's one of their partner's complaints or challenges is like, I don't feel like my partner really supports me, has my back, keeps me safe, is aware of where I'm at and what's going on with me. So those are some of the parallels that we draw in the work.
That's so interesting. What's the craziest thing that you have identified that even shocked you when you saw the pattern when people were dancing?
Shock. I don't think I've ever been shocked.
Surprised, maybe.
That's a tough one. I think if I'm most intrigued when I work with couples that have been together for a long time. So the reason that that is so intriguing and is so fun to work with them is because people that have been with their partner usually more, it's about the 7 year mark, what they call the 7 year itch, usually around 5 to 7 years. Anything beyond that, partners swear they know their partner. They're like, I pretty much know my partner. I know everything about them. And then they start operating from that place of assuming because they've spent so much time with them that they know them. What they don't realize is the version of the partner that they get is a reflection of how they're showing up. And so then when they come in the class and they see all of these new aspects of their partner, because either the class is bringing it out or the work is bringing it out, they're like, I had no idea that they were like this, or I had no idea that they could do this, or I had no idea that they were this playful or this creative. Like, who is this person? I love to watch that. And I'm like, yep. So do you understand why? And it's like they're meeting their partner for the first time. So I love to watch that. But just the assumptions is fascinating to me. It's just kind of like, yeah. Frenchman, I know her. And I'm like, really? Okay, let's see.
You know, when I think about what you're saying, the, the reason for this misunderstanding, my perception is people think that they have only one version of partner, right?
Mm-hmm.
The version they met first. But here's the crazy thing. Your partner is different in different scenarios. So they have different
Exactly.
versions at any point of time. That's one aspect. Secondly, the version you met at the beginning may not be the same version you're seeing right now. So they're continuously evolving, just like yourself. You're evolving at every day, every moment, every month. It's a different version of you that's coming up. So to say that you know your partner really well, I don't need to learn anything more, I would be careful with that one.
But it happens it's so common in my work that like I said, I'm just kind of like, wow, you really do genuinely think of your partner as a one-dimensional party. Like you really don't have a concept. And I think that's where the breakdowns happen is
Yeah.
because they make those assumptions, they move with that place, and then they start, occasionally, in my work, they may be looking at other people because, oh, that person is different and that person is the other. And, that saying, I'm every woman, like your partner really is that multidimensional, whether it's the man or the woman.
What I'm curious about is what are the patterns like when someone comes into for help with you? What's usually the first thing you notice? Okay, this is like it's in your brain that this is one of the first things you want to notice as they start dancing?
Typically, if there's power struggles in a relationship, like you usually see that in the very first song. um, there might be other things that you see, especially if they're really, really nervous. You will see things like support. You will see trust sooner. It's interesting, the more fearful they are, the more you see their trust issues and dynamics show up. But usually power struggle. That's usually the first thing you see.
I'm also curious, does the dynamic change with the song that plays or the dance that they're doing?
Once they get comfortable moving together, yes. And that's when they start seeing the other aspects of it. Like there's some songs that are more melancholy. There's some and soulful, some songs that are very passionate. And they love that. And I have to close my eyes. Well, like, okay, I'm going to excuse myself while you guys finish dancing. And then, and then we have some that are very, very playful and flirtatious. Those are usually the faster ones where they get to
Right.
experiment.
I'm so curious about the psychology behind this. So, when someone starts dancing, right? So, you try to help them through dance. That's my understanding. So,
Yes.
when they start working better in dance, why does it automatically reflect into their relationship?
Well, number one, most people are kinesthetic learners. Between 60 to 70% of people are kinesthetic learners. So even though we're in an educational system that's primarily audio and visual,
Yeah,
60 to 70% of people are learned through physical, and that other 10% is sentient, meaning they sense not just their physical body, but they sense the environment. People that are
wow,
known for having like a sixth sense, or they can,
right.
they don't know how they know. And so that is one of the bases that I use to kind of step into this work, is understanding that people learn, absorb quicker through their physical body. But then there is a mind body relationship. We talk about it, but we rarely tap into the power of it. That what's going on in your mind shows up in your body, and what's going on in your body will show up in how you express yourself through how your thoughts and your words. So, for example, if you have tension in your mind, you're, kind of tensed or stressed, it absolutely not only shows up in your body, but you will transfer it to your partner. So if you're frustrated, if you're tense, if you're upset, it absolutely comes in your body, and you absolutely send it to the other person. And so the reaction that you're getting from the people around you, whether your partner or the greater world, is their response to what you're either sending energetically or what you're communicating physically. And most people, kind of don't realize that the world is often a mirror to them. And that's why this works so well, because once people become aware, it's kind of like body language, being a body language expert. You don't have to be a body language expert. Your body is responding to another person's body. And when you become aware of it, you can use that to transform your communication non-verbally, and therefore the relationship.
Wow, that's beautiful. Your career has been such a diverse set of things that you've accomplished, worked on. I'm just curious what inspired you to try so many different things.
Oh, that's long.
Go for it.
I think it was in part, I'm a creative by nature. Um, but I think some of the initial explorations were things that I was interested in, but because certain things were not available to me, like dancing and some of the arts forms that were more expensive, my creativity still wanted to come out. And so it was like, okay, so we can't do this expensive dance class or art class. So what is we gonna do? Well, we got a pencil so we can write. And I was already a bookworm. So, just using my creative expression. And then once I did finally have the opportunity to have dance, the funny thing is I knew I wanted to do dance, but I didn't think it was possible physically. But once that I, got through that, was, it was as all she wrote, so to speak.
So, did dance become like your primary form of expressing yourself?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I dance in the grocery store. Like if a song comes on, they're like, "Oh, that's that lady dancing down on aisle 7." Yes, that's her.
Would you want your person to be dancing as well?
Yes, even those, it just depends. Obviously, my partner is like usually just like let her go. That's it because I will dance anywhere. I don't apologize if I'm moved, it's going to happen. So unfortunately, there's no restraint there.
Has your partner ever joined you?
Always, but not all
Always.
the time. But not all the time. In other words, they're always open to it. But sometimes it's just like this is, you can see it in my eyes. They see my body starts moving in a certain way, and they're just the conversation shuts down because they know I'm gone, and it's just like, okay, I'll wait till you come back.
I am super curious about one thing.
What's
So,
that?
tango is really interesting, right? Because you're
Yes.
using your mind body connection to kind of move forward with things. Have you ever been in a situation, or have you seen a couple who is in a situation where it's a very difficult challenge that it's not just about fighting, it's two ideals that are at battle with each other. They value different things, and so they have a problem they're stuck at.
Hmm.
Has the dance helped them get out of their mind into their body to solve it?
Absolutely. That's one of the beautiful things about using. That's why I say, number one, the first thing I see is usually power struggles. And that's usually kind of a conflict of power, of ideals, of values, of perspectives.
Right.
Um, Tango already is inherently that. If for no other reason that you've got two people facing each other and they're looking in different directions and have completely different perspectives of the dance and the dance floor. So just sometimes with them moving, they realize, wait a second. Like, for example, let's say I'll start with the leader because, that's something that, we do address the power piece. And they're like, I see the world a certain way and my wife sees the world a different way. Like, but I'm the leader. So it's my way or the highway. That's something that does come up. But then when we start doing the exercises, and I'm like, okay, but your wife she's normally walking forward by herself, and now she has to walk backwards in heels. How do you think that change in perspective shifts how she's going to interact with you? And they're like, once they start seeing her walk backwards and how challenging that is and how different their perspective is now, because now I can't see behind me. I have to trust what you're doing, but I can see everything behind you that you can't see. So I can see every couple that's coming. I can see what every couple behind us is doing. I can see when they're getting too close. I can let you know that we're about to crash into something. But I have to also at the same time trust that you are going to make sure that we're safe. When they realize that, then it becomes, we don't have to have the same anything to work together in harmony and be successful as a couple because the physical differences make it really clear that perhaps maybe we're not supposed to have the exact same perspective. Maybe we do need two totally different perspectives to make this dance truly work. Like, I really need you to be able to watch my back at the same time that I'm driving us forward. And I need your feedback so that we can have a complete picture.
Wow, it's a very the challenge with this, and you might think I'm crazy. Is cognitively I get how valuable this is. It's because I've never seen it work. I'm like, wow, how does this actually work? Like, it's so incredible to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. And it's such a unique way of seeing things. It's such a different way of seeing things. Can the same thing be applied to other dance forms, or do you find it more unique to tango? Because I know you've learned so many different dance
Mm-hmm.
versions.
There are some aspects that are definitely unique to tango that show up um, factors that the other dance forms don't reveal in the same way.
Right.
For example, tango is a progressive dance, so you actually dance around the floor in a predefined circle.
Oh,
Many
okay.
Yes, and many other, so it's like being on a highway with other cars, whereas other dance forms tend to be in one spot in a
You're
channel.
right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that you as a couple not only having to work together, but have to negotiate the world around you makes the idea of working together in order to be successful as a couple being even more profound. Because
Wow.
unlike just working together in one spot, when you two have to work together to get safely around and negotiate all the other couples and obstacles on the floor, you realize, oh my goodness, like we really do have to work together as a team. It's like us against the world for real. Like not just a metaphor. Like we have to keep our couple
It's a
safe
team.
while dealing with 50,
Everything.
100, 200 other couples in the same world. So
Right.
yes.
When the first time I truly learned about the power of physiology was when I actually went to a Tony Robbins seminar.
Hmm.
He uses body so much that he's like, you cannot stay still for too long.
Hmm.
Your energy has to keep moving. And that was the first time I actually realized the power of physiology, right? If your body is moving, you're having more movement, your energy and state is in a much better
Hmm.
place, and that influences how you think. That
Hmm.
influences what you perceive. And that's the connection I can make to what's happening. Moving to some of the other areas of your life, so New York fashion and then poetry, what are certain things that you're able to bring to relationships and dance that you borrowed from some of these other things?
Oh, wow. It's interesting that you pulled in that connection. Most people miss that connection. Um, well, we'll start with the fashion. And one of the reasons that the fashion came about is because in dance, your ability to move freely in tango is very, very important. So I wanted to remove the barrier of the constraint of your attire because the more, all dance tie, you can wear anything while dancing, but there are forms of attire that are more ideal to allow you the most freedom of movement
Oh,
in the dance. And you want that freedom. You don't want that to be a constraint so that you can really focus on moving together as unrestricted as possible. So that's how we got into athleisure, and kind of taking that into account and bringing that to tango. Usually tango is very, the fashion is very formal. And so, but in a training environment, you don't want to be that formal, especially since I'm working with couples. I wanted to remove that formality for them to have a place to work. And then when they go out dancing for an evening, they can, dress to the nines, so to speak.
yeah. So,
Go ahead.
so you give them the attire that they train with or work with during the
They can
sessions?
choose to. I, of course, like
Wow.
like most dance schools, or movement schools, they have a uniform that, whether it's your attire for karate, something
Right.
that's the most appropriate for you
Yeah.
to do the exercises. We have that as well.
Right. And what about poetry? I know poetry, nutrition, so many different aspects come in.
Poetry helps me to, I find in working with all different types of people from all different cultures and walks of life, communicating ideas, you have to be able to find a variety of ways to express ideas and concepts in a way that people get quickly. The dancing is the easiest part because the body doesn't lie. And so even if people might not understand conceptually what I'm saying, as you were saying, the minute they start moving, they get it. I'm telling you, there's nothing like trying to lead a woman who's walking backwards in heels to make you understand the power and responsibility of leadership. Like nothing, you can say, oh, I understand leading. And then you're leading someone who's having to walk backwards. Like you realize, oh, this is a lot of responsibility for safety, for support, for clear communication. So it does that. But also the poetry helps me to do that because when you can paint a picture, when you tell stories, you're able to get a concept across quicker. It becomes more visceral for people. When
Yeah.
you can speak in a language that paints a picture, if you will, people also get it quicker as well.
Yeah, yeah. I was really inspired reading about all these things, and I was just curious, how was your experience with fashion? What were things you realized or noticed in the fashion world that people outside don't notice?
Oh, wow. Um, hmm. I mean, most people see the presentation part.
Yeah,
They think how it looks.
you're right.
The fashion show, and especially New York Fashion Week. That was a dream come true for me. When I was a little girl, I really was enamored with Vera Wang. And so once again, we weren't able to afford a lot of art classes, but anything that I could do with a pencil, I was after. And so, all the glitz and glam of Fashion Week. But when you're actually there, you start to get into the why of the designer. Like, because there's lots of clothes, but in those kinds of environments, people are interested in the why of the design, the why of the fabric, the utility. So it's not as much just the what are you seeing, but why did you make these strategic choices in this particular line? And that worked really, really well for us because it was so about the dance and it being functional for the dance. Like people were so fascinated by that. They were like for example, like even the way the embrace is held and where we put the emphasis of the design or certain features on the woman's right leg versus the left leg. And they were like, that's because the woman leads typically with the right leg. And it's like, I would have never thought of that. Like that makes perfect sense. Like
Right.
it's so intricately linked. Or the fact that the woman does a lot of contra torso. So we use that, kind of idea when we chose the different fabrics and the types of tops, for example. So those kinds of things.
When growing up, uh, I grew up in a more conservative family,
Hmm.
and the way they saw fashion was it's almost showing off. It's
Mm.
fashion was I'm trying to find the right words. Fashion was exuberant. Fashion was too
Hmm.
much.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, and only after growing up, I saw there is such a diverse set of meanings to it. And my wife, she's my amazing, enlightening partner. She was like, fashion is art.
Hmm.
Fashion is the art people get to wear on themselves. Fashion is what they get to say without saying anything.
Hmm.
What did you see fashion as?
Absolutely. She and I are definitely on the same page. You have a brilliant lady there.
Oh, she's
Uh,
amazing. She's amazing.
I'm certain that she is. It is wearable art. And also, taking it a step further, it's a form of expression in an artistic way. It's a form of expression in terms of personal statement, but it's also a wearable expression of culture and ideas.
Yeah,
And so, different cultures, some cultures are more conservative in their
yeah,
ideas and in their ideals.
yeah,
And some cultures are more colorful, if you will, and
yeah,
expressive, and, you know, more
yeah.
exuberant, if you will,
Yes.
in their ideas and ideals. And so, it's a reflection of that. And she is
Yeah.
correct in that regard.
Yeah. It's so beautiful, and I couldn't comprehend this. In fact, because I grew up in a very conservative space, experimenting with fashion wasn't as comfortable
Mhm.
because going across the line, doing something outside the norm could mean judgment, could
Hmm.
mean words that affect how you see yourself. But only after with time I can see how powerful fashion is. Fashion can be confidence, fashion can be inspiration. Fashion is so much. When you were in the fashion space, something I've, at least as a cliche I've seen outside, is this extreme amount of competition, and within the fashion space it's almost cutthroat. Is that the
Hmm.
same feeling you got when you were, or whenever you've been working with fashion?
I believe that it can be. I think for us, and maybe that was the blessing of it, is our space was so unique. There was nobody in that space, you know.
Okay.
And I wasn't looking to compete against other designers. I admired and respected the different approaches and, everything, like you said, from couture to swimwear. But my goal was to create, ultimate goal was to create pieces that people that dance and people that are moving together have that are appropriate for that, and also express the idea of the tutu tango movement.
Yeah.
So people that dance tango, it's a subtle way for them to communicate. Yes, I'm about that life. Like this is a passion of mine. You've seen people wear jerseys to express their passion for a specific sport, and so this is another way because tutu tango or some cultural element is emblazoned on pretty much all of the pieces. So yeah, it's a way for them to express their hobbies and their passions and their beliefs.
That's so cool. You were so unique and in such a niche space that you didn't have competition. And you were purely doing things for that art. And I love how you integrated so many different aspects into the two to tango movement.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what I'm curious, something else I was also thinking about. You've had to work in so many different areas. And something in my journey I've had to learn and have to constantly keep learning is how to overcome overwhelm. When you're trying to handle so many things as a person, you're handling fashion, you're handling tango, you're learning different things as well.
Mm-hmm.
How do you work with that?
Hmm. I think one of the gifts of dancing is um, I'm already my personal self. I'm really balanced in being quote unquote right brained and left brained. So people that know me in a very analytical and corporate space, many of them cannot imagine me dancing. And those who know me in the creative artistic world cannot at all see me as a corporate consulting type. So it's so interesting that when they meet each other, they're like, she's what? She does who? She's huh? Like, I can't see it. But movement is actually like a brain gym, actually helps you to integrate your right and left brain to help you with your coordination. So they have to work more together in concert with one another for you to have whole body coordination, especially with tango, because you have to literally use your entire body all at the same time. And so I found that the more proficient I got in my dance, the more it was easy, the easier it was for me to integrate all of these projects and work with them as a whole project. So it's like my left and right brain started to work together. And so it did start to tap down the overwhelm. I used to get overwhelmed. But then when I realized that literally I was doing brain gym for myself, I was able to be both creative and an organizer at the same time.
Wow. Tango is so powerful.
It really is. I was like, this is that brain gym. Oh my gosh. Like,
That, and you wouldn't think about it. It's so cool. I, I I would like to switch formats now and
sure.
just a fun game for people to be able to learn more about you, understand you better, right? And this is something called the last time question. So the
Okay.
last time you had this experience.
Okay.
And so it'll be something like the last time you gave someone charity, something like that. Like those are the versions that I go through. So here's the first one for you.
Okay.
The last time you danced tango just for yourself and not for anyone else.
Oh, that's all the time.
I expected that.
I do it for me and my partner first. Everything else is just an opportunity for others. It's, that's an after effect, but that's never the reason I do. Even when I perform, when I'm performing, it's really to tap into something within me, something me and my partner are sharing, and we're just doing it in front of a lot of other people.
The last time you laughed so hard that you cried?
Um, Actually, probably last Sunday, I was remembering something that I said to another person, and I was making a joke, making a funny, and then I remembered it mid-conversation, and I fell out laughing. It just came to my thought, and the person was like, "Why are you laughing?" And I couldn't stop laughing.
You know, that's the craziest experience when you remember a joke and you are breathless, even being able to explain what the joke is, and no one's going to be
Exactly.
able to get it. But you are in such a zone just laughing about the joke that it's all to you. Only you can enjoy this
Exactly.
experience.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
The last time you felt nervous before going on stage?
It's been a while. Um, it's been quite a few years, but I remember I used to get what we call the shaky leaves. That more happens when I'm dancing with a new partner. But my body betrays me every time when that happens. It's been a few years, but I remember I would just be like, okay, I'm all confident. And then my body would start to go, no, you're not. No, you're not. And I'm like, hush, stop.
The last time you created a meal that felt like medicine?
Hmm. That would be, that felt like medicine. I would say last winter. I mean, I got into playing around with chicken soups and
Oh,
I'm vegan.
nice.
So,
Okay.
but starting to add all of the elements like the garlics and the gingers and whatever, I actually understood what people say when they say chicken soup is healing. It wasn't until I added all of the ingredients as opposed to just some. And I was like, oh, this is why this is healing. Like it's all these healing herbs and spices that it's not just a comfort food. It really is healing. So that would have been last winter.
Wow, that's beautiful. The last time you saw a couple's connection shift instantly during a dance?
In the dance or in like a class, like on the floor or in the class?
On the floor, on the floor.
That would be pretty recently when I work with couples and then they go together socially. So they have one dynamic in a classroom setting, but then you see them socially and then you're like, "Ooh, who are they? Okay.
Okay.
Okay, they got it." It's those moments when you see them dance socially and you want to like cover your eyes because they went from having, I wouldn't say no passion, but they were just like more friendly to them tapping into that passion, like, come here. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh, okay. Yes.
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. The last time you took a trip that completely changed you?
Oh, that was before COVID. So, um, so I haven't traveled I used to travel extensively before COVID. Um, but I go back and forth quite a bit to Buenos Aires. And there was a time I went to Iguazu Falls
Okay.
and during a trip, which I rarely, when I go to Buenos Aires to dance, that's all I go to do. Like people are like, don't you go see the sights? I'm like, no, I'm going to Tango. They're like, but you've been there so many times. I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to Tango. But this particular time, I took some students and we went to Iguazu Falls, and it was the second most beautiful place I had ever been in the world, and it didn't look real. And so
Wow.
I,
What's the first most beautiful place that you've been to?
Lake Geneva. It
Oh,
does, it looks like a postcard. Even there, when you're there, like the whole time I was walking around, like, I'm like, this isn't real.
yeah.
This is virtual reality. This isn't real.
Where is Lake Geneva? I forgot.
Switzerland?
Okay, Switzerland. Okay, I wanted to make sure it's not another one in the US.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
in
Thank you.
Switzerland.
Yeah. The last time a poem or a piece of art moved you to tears.
I don't know if I want to answer that because then everybody will know all my business. So I will refrain
You
from
pass.
saying who the poet is. They
Okay.
are an ancient poet
Okay.
because then people will know. They will know. And I heard a recording of that poet's work. So someone had taken the poetry and set it to music. And the first time I heard that, I was already a fan of the poet. And I was just kind of like, oh my gosh, like,
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. The last time you had a breakthrough about your body and energy.
I'm in the middle of that right now. So I can't
Oh,
say I'm literally in the middle of that. I don't know if I want to get in too far in deep of it, but um, I've been doing more movement in water, and it's completely changed the way I understand movement. So I'm in the middle of it
beautiful.
right now.
It's beautiful. The last time you had to completely trust a dance partner in the moment.
That's all the time.
I guess that makes sense.
Yes, I mean this dance only works when you have complete
Completely.
trust in your partner. I think the most challenging thing for many people is when you are putting that kind of level of trust in a new dancer. In other
Right.
words, a dancer that has less experience, because you're putting the entire responsibility for the safety of your being in someone who is just learning what that means. So anytime I work with new dancers, I have to make a decision in my mind that, okay, but we're here. So, but when they feel it, it's so interesting to hear them respond, because they can actually feel in your body when you go into that space of surrender.
Wow.
For me, for example, I'll close my eyes and they'll go, wait a minute, you just close your eyes. Like, open your eyes. I need you to see what's going on. And I'm like, no, you've got it. And so, then they have to, take on the full responsibility. It's like, oh, she's not going to look. So I really do have to leave. And
That's
that's the
beautiful.
trust. That's ultimate trust.
That's beautiful. Um, the last time that you stayed up all night working on a project because you were obsessed with it.
Mm. Well, that's typically all the time, but that's all the time. But I would say the last time I stayed up all night due to an obsession is because of House of David. So
Okay.
because of a
Okay.
TV series.
Yeah,
So
that works.
that's a departure for me, because I don't watch much TV.
Oh wow,
So
really?
yeah,
Okay.
I'm not a person that watches TV. So for me to stay up to watch the premiere of House of David, yes,
That's
because I'm obsessed with that.
beautiful. The last time an audience reaction left you speechless.
Hmm. Hmm. I won't say the last time. Um, I think the most profound time was one of the most profound times was performing on live TV in Uruguay. So
Oh,
they had a live tango show in Uruguay. And at least during that time, I was one of the few women of color, and my partner, people of color, that was dancing tango internationally. And we performed live 2 times on the show, and he had performed 3 times on the show. And to see the response when you're doing live television, you don't get a sense of the reaction. But when we went to the streets and people recognized us on the street and responded and reacted, that was profound. I was like, oh, they really do watch this show. They told us what the
wow.
viewership of the show was, and the viewership of the show was close to 1 million. And we didn't believe it until we were on the bus, and people were on the street and they recognized us on the bus. And they
Oh,
were like,
wow.
because they recognized
That
my
must
hair,
have
and they
been
were like,
surreal.
yes. And I was like, oh, they really do watch. Like,
Oh, yeah. It's sometimes you can't fathom what's happening
mm-hmm.
outside when people say, "Oh, so many views happened, so many things happened." You can't fathom what's happening out there, and then these reactions actually complete the circle.
Yes.
Yeah. The last time you inspired someone else to try a vegan lifestyle.
Hmm. Probably more of that happens without me knowing. Um,
Okay.
But I will say one of the places that I do enjoy every once in a while, and I'm not a social media maven by any stretch of the imagination, but every once in a while, when I'm getting in those modes, I'll post what I'm cooking on my social media page, which tends to be more dance oriented. And it's when I start seeing the comments of people asking questions that I know that they're inspired. Like they're like, I tried that with chickpeas and it didn't work out. What did you use? And I'm like, oh, you really are watching.
Yeah,
Okay. So
that's
it's through the
cool.
comments.
Yeah.
Yes.
The last time a dance taught you something new about communication.
I think that's almost every day. Um,
Every day.
but it, I literally, like people say, you talk about Tango all the time. Like that's my vantage point. But since I've been doing the work in water, it's helped me to understand a little bit more. Like I said, I'm still in the middle of it, but I'm learning some things there that are transforming. I'm evolving in, so I'm learning it now.
So when you learn something new about communication every day through dance, like is it different facets, different angles? What do you? I'm just trying to understand what happens during your learning journey each day when you learn something new.
Whether I'm working with couples or whether I'm just interacting with other people, to me, that communication is going on. And so, for example, I'll give an example that was recent. I had an interview and, I could tell that the interviewer was trying to process the idea of this nonverbal language. And they used a word that I rarely hear that tends to have a negative connotation. And the way they used the word was so out of place from the way I'm used to hearing it. And I just kind of like, it literally took me back in my chair and they were like, whoa, okay. I read your reaction to that. Like, okay, I get the idea of body language. Like when you say or do something, like it has an impact on another person. And so this
Right.
was an example of that
Oh,
kind of
so cool.
in real time. And because it was they were like, whoa, words, you do have an impact on others because that's the first time I've seen you move that dramatically, and in a way that was away from me. So, yeah.
Okay. The last time you surprised yourself with what you could do.
Hmm. I think I won't say that's all the time, but I like to put myself in, because once again, I work with so many diverse people. I try to proactively, I won't say put myself, out of my comfort zone as much as put myself in positions and situations where I can see things from other people's point of view or through their experience. So that's something that I try to do to develop more empathy, as I call it, being on both sides of the argument. So, that's something that I'm constantly doing. And each time I do that, it's so funny. And I'll say this, when I'm working with people, the one thing I've learned and I share with them is the more you learn about what it's like to be on the other side of the conversation, the more powerful it makes you, because you have a stronger and clearer understanding of yourself once you understand the other side. It's kind of like an argument or, a debate. The better you understand the other side of the argument, the more clarity you can have about your own side of the argument. And so I try to live that way each day.
Amazing. Final one. The last time you felt like you were living your childhood dream.
Right now.
Oh, nice.
I right
Okay.
now. The
I'm
only
just
thing I'll add to that is, it warms my heart. When I was in the third grade, somebody gave me a music box with a ballerina in it, and but the ballerina was bent. But it played the most beautiful music, and even though I had this very wobbly ballerina, I just dreamed, and I never thought it was possible, even at that age. But I just dreamed. I was like, wow, what if I could be a ballerina one day?
Mm-hmm.
And so it really was a childhood dream. I know the little girl in me is like, all right, girl, you did it.
You did it. Talking about your journey, I was so curious. I know it's such a unique arc that you've gone through. Talk to us about what was that entire journey like when you first saw, okay, tango can be something else, and then you had to bring it to people. What was the response like? How did all of that work out?
Hmm. Okay, this is my villain's arc then. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, in that, I think in some ways, especially since I started a number of years ago, I probably was not who people were expecting to bring this to the world, if that makes any sense. I think when people see tango commercially, they have a very specific image in their mind of what that should look like based on maybe some shows they've seen or a movie they've seen. And so I think that part of the journey is number one, there's the me studying it and exploring and learning and coming into my own mastery of the dance. And I'm still a student as well. But then as I began to do the work and with others, they had a commercial image and I didn't necessarily fit that commercial image. However, the dance that they were seeing was clearly at a level that got their attention.
Yeah.
When I would go dance from Buenos Aires, you know, they were like, okay, that girl, she knows her tango. And so, but I think that was purposeful. I think there was a divine reason for that.
When it's so difficult when you're trying to start something new and people have these filters and they're like, oh, this
hmm
is not normal, and then they will say, do you really want to do this? It's maybe you should just stay in your lane. That's the phrase they'll
hmm
use. How did you handle that initial surprise? Did you have certain tools you were using, or you would just like you walked through it?
It's all a tango. And so when you have resistance in the dance, there's a way that you handle that. And I handle it in that way. So resistance wasn't something that I didn't expect because I'm like, oh, I deal with this on the dance floor all the time. Okay, so handle it like that. But then the other part of that is, I think, because this is where working on your craft comes into play. I was already a professional dancer of the other dance forms before I got into tango. So that same level of discipline that I had coming into tango, I brought from other dances. So, unlike many dancers that, dance at various levels, I was dancing 6 to 8 hours a day. Um,
Wow.
and so that quickly translated in my skill level and my ability to execute. And also I worked with, because I didn't have a partner to start with, I worked with a lot of different artists. And so without getting too deep into it, the most interesting thing about the dance is that there is body memory. So the more you dance with other partners as a follower, you actually keep a memory of everything that they lead. So by working
Wow.
with so many different artists, I was exposed to a very large dance vocabulary quickly because every artist my body would remember. It was like, oh, I know that step. Oh, that's different. Like, they would hear the conversation in my mind, like, oh, he let a blah, 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 blah. Oh, I can't believe he let that. Oh, that's an impossible move, but he let it, And so that was that being on both sides of the dance is actually what made me a very proficient leader as well. But my vocabulary became vast very quickly by having those diverse experiences. So as much as some people would say it was a handicap, it wound up being a blessing for me because I got to a point in my professional career where the reputation was like, if you lead it, she can do it.
What was the journey from becoming a master in tango and then deciding to help other couples shift their relationship with it?
It came to me I wasn't seeking it as its own niche. That wasn't what I
Oh,
was looking for at that time. I think it was more a set of epiphanies that I was having when I had my first experience realizing that It Takes Two to Tango is not a metaphor, it's an actual experience on the dance floor. And so when I had that first experience of literally it two becoming one in Tango, that's when I started to see the dance through that dimension. So everything at that point became not about the dance. I was like, the dance is just an effect. The
right.
cause is our interaction and dynamic. And if that's going well, then the dance becomes a beautiful dance. If we're not on the same page, then the dance looks a mess. And so I would say that that is what I was doing. And so that was my lens. So when I taught, I always spoke in that language. And people were like, they were coming to me for that. And then I started getting referrals. And they were like, okay, if your spouse doesn't want to go to marriage counseling, go to Linda's class. So I started getting referrals, and that was the birth of Tutu
Oh,
Tango.
interesting. So you were speaking about how it impacts couples and that connection because you were so immersed in it, and it just started pulling people in.
Mm-hmm.
So, so today, do you have to put much effort to tell people about, this entire thing that you're doing? And does it still surprise people? I'm sure it surprised me, but is it what most people react? Is that how most people react?
The first one is a surprise, and then they're like, of course. Like at the epiphany, they have the same epiphany that I had, and I love to watch it. I think I've only had one person who literally one person that was more recent who was, I think they were just resistant to the idea and they just were like, I'm not going to accept that this is a possibility, even though obviously done it for many, many years. Um, but I almost never have it where someone can't conceptualize it, can't imagine it, doesn't believe it's possible. Almost everyone except one person was just kind of like, I get it. Yes, it takes two to tango. Oh, if I imagine what I've seen. Yes, that's right. They do have to work together. That's right. The man leads. That's right. That's follow. That's right. They do have to work together. They have to have teamwork. They have to be partners. They have to trust each other. Like people get it.
Before we close off on the podcast, where can people find more information about you?
Well, they can start with the socials because most people like to use social media. So they can find me on Facebook under Linda Sutton and the Tutu Tango Show on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to start to explore this work. And of course, I've released 2 books this year. And so they can get an introduction and kind of take a deep dive on some of this work. I was like, It Takes Two to Tango is the first book. And So You Think You Can't Dance is the second one, helping people to get over their fears of dancing and going to a dance class.
Okay, awesome. Guys, make sure to check out the books. Here's my question to you. If you could tell couples to do 3 things before they approached you for help, what would it be?
One is a mindset shift. I'll say 2. One is a mindset shift and one is an exercise. The first mindset shift is to embody and understand what it means when I say there is no leader without a follower. And so it's a 2 kind of fold understanding, which is leadership is permission based and requires the cooperation and collaboration of another, which is your partner. And so when you understand that leadership and followership is a partnership, that is the first thing that you can use in the foundation of your relationship to build greatness. And then the second thing is an exercise. The next time you see your partner, I want you to carve out 10 minutes with your partner and put on your favorite song or their favorite song and just, bring them into your arms, maybe dim the lights, bring them into your arms and just move together for that 3 to 10 minutes. But this time, I want you to start to pay attention to the details of your partner. Everything from the tension in their body, their balance, everything about them, how they're standing. Do they have weight on one foot versus the other? And I want you to respond to that without saying anything. just take in those details and just think about how can I respond to the information that I'm receiving. And that will start to create a new level of communication with you, with your partner, that by the time you come to me, we can help you take it to the next level.
Nice. What if they don't know how to tango?
They don't have to know how to tango to start. Just like I said, just put on your favorite song, hold each other in whatever embrace or hug you like, and just start to sway together. You don't even have to move around the floor. Just sway and start to pay attention to your partner in a new way. And that's the
Okay.
beginning of the tango.
Guys, make sure to try it out. This has been a very incredible conversation, something
Thank
very new
you.
I learned about. And it's beautiful that you've brought this unique perspective to the world. So thank you for that.
Thank you for having me, AJ. I appreciated this journey and this dance together. And I look forward to
Absolutely.
seeing you and your wife on the floor sing.
Well, I look forward to that too. Thank you for giving us your time and wisdom. We really appreciate it.
All right, likewise.